Hi, and welcome back to the podcast. Thanks again for being here today. Today, I want to talk about communication and, in particular, how to express yourself and let others know what your needs are. Now, this came about because I was talking to a fellow coach recently, and she was talking about a client that she had been working with who was dissatisfied in their relationship and had said that their partner just didn't know what they needed. And it reminded me of a client that I had a few years ago who experienced something very similar. I'd been seeing this client for a little while, and initially she came to me because she was unhappy at work and with the way that her boss had treated her or was treating her. And she couldn't express herself or speak up and ask for what she wanted or tell her boss that it wasn't appropriate the way that he spoke to her. And as we got into our sessions and we were working on how could she find her voice and how could she let him know that she feels uncomfortable when he makes these off-the-cuff comments that are a little bit inappropriate in the workplace, but he's old school and that's the way he's always been, and she's worked with him for a long time and she feels that it's too hard now to say, I've always felt uncomfortable, please don't do it. So anyway, we worked through how she could find her voice, how she could express herself, how she could let him know that he was actually making her feel uncomfortable. Because for the most part, when people say things without thinking and they've done it for a very long time and it's just become innate in their nature and how that they communicate, quite often they don't realise how uncomfortable they make other people feel. And if they don't know, they can't change it. They can't do anything about it. So when we looked at it from that perspective and she realised that maybe he doesn't know how he's making her feel, that gave her more confidence to find her voice and to be able to say, look, can you please not say things like that because it makes me feel uncomfortable. Now, the comments weren't directed at her, and that doesn't matter because she was the one that was still feeling uncomfortable. So she needed to express and let him know that that was how he was making her feel, whether he intended it or not. And we worked through that, and it was great and a really successful outcome. And she was able to voice herself to her boss and let him know. And he apologised, and it took a little bit of time, but she would give him a look when he would say something that would make her feel uncomfortable, and he would pull back and stop, rephrase, apologise, and start again. So they worked on that together. Then in one of our sessions, and we'd been seeing each other for a little while by this time, she says to me, I'm thinking of leaving my husband. I'm just going to leave him. And I said, okay, tell me more about that. And she told me that he doesn't listen to her and that she always does things for him and he doesn't do anything for her and that she's sick of it and that he really needs to stop thinking about himself and a lot of things along those lines. And I let her tell me what was happening. And I said, okay. And I asked a really simple question. I said, do you think he knows that that's how you're feeling? And for her, it was a shock and a realisation that, well, maybe he doesn't. Her body language, the look on her face, she took a breath in. Oh, I don't know, she said. And I said, okay, well, let's start from that. What would lead you to believe that he did know? Well, he's always been like that and he should know that that's how I feel and all of these things that came out. And I said, okay, and that is a valid point of view. I said, but have you ever told him that that's how you're feeling, that you're fed up, that you're frustrated, that all of the things that you've just described to me, have you ever voiced any of that to him? Have you ever told him that that's how you're feeling? And she said, no. And I said, okay, well, that's all right. That's a good starting point. We know where you're at. Now you've got a choice. You can find a way to tell him how you're feeling and you can see if he can address your concerns and if he can meet your needs or not. And it's your decision, it's your choice whether to leave or not leave. Anyway, this went on for the rest of the session, and then the following session she decided that she wanted to work on her marriage and she wanted to give him an opportunity. She wanted to let him know how she felt. And she did, and they did, and as far as I know, it was many years ago, they never separated. The point of that story is that speaking with my fellow coach recently, and she had a client going through something similar, it just reminded me that quite often we get so caught up in our own feelings and beliefs in our own world And we fall into that, well, it's not fair, they're not doing what I need, and all of that can be true. But if we haven't told them what we need, if we haven't expressed to our partners that we would like them to do something for us, or we would like them to do something different, or we would like them not to speak in a certain way to us, whatever our needs are, if we haven't expressed them to our partner, how can we expect them to then moderate or modify or change or treat us in the way that we actually want to be treated? They can't, because they don't know. So the point of today's podcast is to let you stop and think about, what are your needs and are they being met? Or on the flip side, are you suppressing them and burying them and stopping asking for them for fear that it might put pressure or stress on your relationship? And therefore your needs aren't being met and you're not asking for them, and they're never going to be met if you don't ask for them. If you don't acknowledge and recognize what you need, how can you express that to someone else? So I just want to end today's podcast with asking you to think about, what are your needs? What do you need right now in your relationship with your partner, with your family, with your work colleagues, with whoever it might be? What is it that you need to help you feel better, feel fulfilled, feel seen, heard, valued? Is there anything missing? You might be in a great relationship with everyone in your life, but if you're not, just stop and think about, what is it that you need? Because it starts with you. You need to identify first what your needs are, and then you can ask for them. We might talk about that in another podcast, how to find your voice and how to ask for what you want. But it all starts with understanding yourself, understanding who you are, how you would like to be treated. And this can be a big step for a lot of people because it's something we don't often stop and think about. We quite often get caught up in just being whoever we are, a partner, a mum, a sister, a daughter, a wife, a husband, a brother, an uncle, whoever it might be, a friend, a work colleague. We get caught up in those roles that we play, and they're all important roles in our life with the people that are important to us. But what's really important is the relationship with ourselves and understanding who we are and how we want to live our life if we could live it the way we want. And once we identify and recognize that, then we can start setting boundaries. We can start asking people to treat us the way we want to be treated. But if we don't know, we can't ask. So today's homework for you, if you choose to accept the challenge, is to stop and think about what's important to you right now in your life. And if you could change any aspect of your life, what would it be? To give you more fulfillment, more happiness, more joy, to feel loved, valued, seen, heard, respected, whatever the words are for you. What's important to you? And I'll end there because that's quite a big question in and of itself. And I'll leave it there for today. Thank you for listening, and please share with family and friends and give us a rating on iTunes so that together we can reach more people. Until next time, remember to let your light shine. Thanks and bye for now.
Please note, when I refer to speaking with a fellow coach earlier in the podcast, it is in general terms only. If we do share stories, it is of a general nature about topics that have arisen, and it is not about any one personal client. Client confidentiality is paramount and personal details are never disclosed. Thank you and have a great day.